Hello, I'm Paul-E, and this is Paul-E-Tics. I'll be using this opportunity every day at 11 a.m. to talk about some of the issues that are facing LA that we believe can be solved with love, and which we will be attempting to solve with love in the coming Los Angeles mayoral election. So, we're going to start by talking about traffic. It's Traffic Thursdays. You know, LA is a magnificent city, a beautiful city. Those of us who live in LA are, I think, very much in love with so much of what LA has to offer, from the beautiful weather to the many beautiful outdoor locations that you can visit, to the fantastic people, the vibrant communities, the diversity, of course, the incredible food, the entertainment. It's a wonderful city. I would say, however, there is one problem that plagues Los Angeles that everybody feels the same way about, which is traffic. It's hard to love traffic. I'm not going to lie. This is the guy who loves everything, but loving traffic is challenging. And I believe that there are many things that we can do to improve this situation. And I think it can be done, well, fairly easily. Of course, I want to hear what you have to say about it, how you would vote for love by figuring out how to vote for an end to traffic or a reduction of traffic. But I can share with you some of my ideas. And why don't we start with a new infrastructure. Tony Edwards wants to take me to downtown LA and take some awesome video. That just came in. Tony will do that for sure. But let's talk about the infrastructure in Los Angeles. We have a lot of roads in some ways, and I think as we move forward with technology, we're going to find that we have actually overbuilt some of our roads. But we find that we have too many drivers on the roads, and this is why we end up in a situation where there's so much traffic at all the times. In fact, sometimes I found that traffic on weekends can be worse than the traffic in the middle of the week. So there's no argument to say that it's about going to work, because Sundays can be the worst day in LA for traffic. I don't understand that one, but so the question for me becomes, how do you solve this? Well, I think there are a few things to do. First of all, we have to invest in our public transportation system. When you talk to people about public transportation in Los Angeles, they tell you that what public transportation? I think people are more aware of the new line we have, which goes from downtown LA to Santa Monica. But even so, I think most people feel like it's a novelty. It's not something that they incorporate into their daily lives. And I think that we have to figure out a way to make people love public transportation. And there are a number of ways to do that. But you have to start with making public transportation something that is accessible to people and that they feel can actually help their lives and increase their time, right? So if you are in public transportation, you can be working, you can be doing other things. You don't have to be spending that time sitting there having frustration and gridlock. So that's one thing. I also believe that we need to figure out how to create more public transportation that is cheaper, faster, and quicker to build, because here we are trying to build new lines, and LA is very actively trying to create new lines for public transportation, but it takes forever. We saw this when they built the new line to from downtown to LAX or to Santa Monica. We saw that this project took many years. And so I think there's an opportunity there for some new technologies, for some disruptive technologies to come in and move things along much quicker. An example being my friends over at the Hyperloop, who are working on a technology that could get you from LAX to Burbank in about 8 minutes, and would take only about 3 years to build something like this. So we have to be thinking outside the box. And I think most of the problems that we want to solve and need to solve in Los Angeles have to be done by outside of the box thinking. So that's one. Of course, when you start to think about technology, you can, and traffic reduction, you can't not think about automated cars, self-driving cars. This is where everything's going. And within 10 years, we're going to look back and say, how did we ever let human beings drive cars? Because self-driving cars are so much more efficient than we can ever be. And once you have self-driving cars, several things happen. First of all, you end up in a situation where we find that our efficiencies go up dramatically. We end up in a position where people no longer need to drive cars or own cars, really, because we have cars that you need a car, there's a car coming to pick you up. The cars are in turn serving us and giving us love, rather than us having to love our cars all the time. So you have these fleets of automated cars that are driving around and getting people where they need to go, which means you also reduce dramatically the need for parking structures, etc., etc. So think about all of the infrastructure we have just to support the cars that we own. If you lose some of that infrastructure, you have room for other things to grow in these places. So this is a must, and it's a win-win. And I believe that we should be investing heavily in making LA the first city to embrace a fully automated car system. The other thing, of course, is that automated cars don't have human error attached to them, which means that so much of the traffic that we see on the streets results from accidents and from cars not being able to be optimally close to each other. But when it's computers driving these cars, the accidents go away. I think it's like a 99.9% less user error or less error from the automated cars than there is from user error from human beings driving these cars. So that's one thing. Which means that we end up with all of this efficiency in our transportation system. Cars are moving so much quicker. We're not getting into these incredible traffic jams. What's happening is, in fact, we start to move very quickly through our city. And as a result, we end up in a place where we find that we have dramatically overbuilt our roads. Now we can reduce roads, take many of our existing freeway structure down, and we end up in a position where we are so much better off. We have all of this room to play with. We can add more housing, which again, it's a holistic system. So you get more housing because you lose freeways. That means that housing can go towards the homeless. It's a place where we can help create homes for the homeless. So it's all hand in hand. So I think this is crucial. I want LA to be one of the first cities, the first city to fully embrace automated transportation technologies. With this, I think we have so many great changes. Now, this is, of course, a little ways out, but it's close enough that I think we can start to embrace this and really get behind it and figure out how to move these things forward. I believe that the system we have is out of date, and we need to lovingly disrupt the system, and we need to do this in ways that challenge the set beliefs. Certainly, thank you for the hearts, my friend. Certainly, we need to challenge the belief that we have, that the way that the structure and the systems are working now are actually working. Because I think what we see is so more often than not that these systems are failing us. And that if we are willing to embrace the change, and if we are willing to figure out how to solve these problems with love, then we can really affect changes that transform our cities and our country. And I think LA can be one of the first cities in the country to embrace some of these new ideas as a municipality, as a city, and these citywide initiatives, embrace these ideas and make changes that the rest of the country can look at and use as a model. And that, of course, is very much what the Vote for Love campaign is. It's a model intended to show another way of doing things, another idea around solving problems with love. I think traffic is a wonderful one. I will tell you that, of course, some of these solutions I'm discussing are more long-term. But there are other things we can do, and there are perhaps some ways we can adjust our attitude using love that will shift how we interact with traffic. Because let's be honest here, part of the issue around traffic isn't just the traffic, but it's what happens to us as individuals, as people, when we are stuck in traffic. Of course, you've heard of road rage. We see this all over LA, where people become so angry because of their frustration for being stuck in this traffic. And I found some very easy solutions to help with road rage. When you have to solve every problem with love, that means that you are, somebody says, I get some angry faces. You don't like that road rage. I'm telling you, I agree. We don't want the road rage. So, one thing I've noticed, why do we experience so much road rage? I believe we experience the road rage because we are late. We are trying to get somewhere. There's these people in our way stopping us from getting where we need to get. God forbid somebody swoops in front of us and cuts us off. We find ourselves really angry with that person. But you know the easiest solution? Make sure that you leave 10 minutes early every time you try to go somewhere. You leave 10 minutes early, you can stroll down to where you have to go. If somebody cuts you off, you say, you know what? They needed that more than I did. It's a loving, compassionate way of interacting with traffic and with the other people, the other citizens on the road. So I think that's a very easy solution, is to always try and program 10 minutes extra in your day for any type of situation like this. It just really helps you ensure that you're not filled and consumed with anger. Very simple. Another initiative that I would like to see spread across LA, and I'm trying to paint the town red, and not in a Republican way per se, in a loving way, but if instead of flipping people the bird, we created an initiative that was to kiss off. I call it the Kiss Off LA initiative, which is when somebody does something that you don't like on the road, why not just love them? Just love them. Blow them a kiss. Instead of giving them the finger, just blow them a kiss. It's so much easier to feel love. It's so much better for the heart to love people in these situations than it is to get angry. And what is the anger anyway? It's really just your ego firing up and telling you that person did something wrong to me. Well, you know what? Usually they're not trying to hurt you. They're just more worried about themselves. But if we blow them a kiss, maybe they will say, hey, wait, or maybe I remember, I need to be better. I need to be more loving. And I'm going to, next time around, I'm not going to cut that person off. And so, you know, these are the kinds of ideas that can go viral, that people can get behind. And suddenly maybe we have a town full of, instead of angry people behind the wheel, we have people blowing each other kisses. What kind of a world is that? That's the kind of world I want to live in. That's the kind of LA I want to live in. And that's an LA that's voting for love. So I'm very curious, of course, to hear from anyone out there who's watching, and I'm not sure if we have anyone but Greg Markell, which is okay. If anyone has ideas about, there's somebody else joining us. If anybody else has some ideas about how they would like to vote for love by ending traffic or reducing traffic, tell me your ideas. I'm very curious to hear them. But if not today, I'll tell you what, this is the beginning of a daily series on Paul-E-Tics that I will be hosting every day at 11 a.m. Tune in and we will be talking about the issues that are facing Los Angeles and how we can solve them in a loving way. That is what the Vote for Love campaign and Paul-E for Mayor is all about. How do we solve problems in Los Angeles with love as the fuel that fuels the motor of politics, if you will. I think what we're going to be doing is on Monday we'll be talking about homelessness. Tuesday we're going to be talking about crime. Wednesday we're going to be talking about how we can keep the film industry in Los Angeles, because that's obviously a vital part of what makes LA tick. Thursdays will be dedicated to traffic. And Friday, I think, will be a open forum to discuss many of the issues that you want to talk about and that Angelenos want to talk about. But here we are, we're going to be talking about the things that matter most to Angelenos in Los Angeles and how we can effectively create change using love. It's a very simple platform, it's a very simple idea, but I think it's an idea that's time has come. And of course, the motivation here is very easy to see. If you look out at this current presidential election cycle that we're seeing, all we're seeing is anger and hatred and vitriol and divisiveness. And it's really getting us nowhere. In fact, it's a traffic jam of its own making. And if you think about what happens when you strip away all of this anger, all of this vitriol, all of the hatred out of the politics, what you're left with is people who are discussing issues and how to solve these problems and these issues, and instead of all of this bashing about one another. So that's what we're trying to do here. That's what we plan on doing here, is creating a campaign and a platform that doesn't spend any time whatsoever talking poorly about the other candidates. Instead, we will spend our time praising the other candidates for the things they're doing right, and talking about the things that we believe we can contribute to make things better and make a more loving environment, a more loving city, a more loving Los Angeles. And that's what the Vote for Love campaign and Paul-E for mayor is all about. I hope that you enjoy this and that you will join me and continue to escalate this conversation over the next 5 months before the election, which is in March. Of course, the other thing that we are trying to do that I think is very essential is raising the bar on voter turnout in Los Angeles. We have a very low projected voter turnout, anywhere from 10 to 17% of registered voters. So if you look at that math, we've got 2.5 million registered voters in Los Angeles. 10 to 17% of those is about 250,000 to 350,000 people showing up to vote in the second largest city in the United States. We need to do something about this. And the Vote for Love campaign is really about saying, look, vote for who you want to vote for. Vote for the person you believe will bring the most love to Los Angeles. If that's Paul-E, then I will happily serve. But if it's somebody else, that's okay too. The most important thing is that you vote, that you exercise this right you have. And if you're not happy with what you're seeing out there, if you're not happy with traffic, for instance, and you have ideas, then come forth and be a part of the solution. Be the change you want to see in the world. That is what we're all about. And encouraging people to step forward and say, I love this city. I love LA. I want to help. I want to be a part of the solution. I want to join with my fellow Angelenos and help create solutions. And the Vote for Love campaign is always going to have an open door policy for Angelenos who want to come in. So if some of you can have ideas and you want to say, hey, look, I think I have an idea that can help with this traffic problem, then I want to hear about it, because I'm not going to sit in front of you and tell you that I have all of the answers. I have some ideas and I have an understanding of the issues that we're facing, but I need all of LA, I need all Angelenos to gather with me to help create these solutions. And so that is my open invitation, that anytime I'm doing one of these moments with Paul-E, one of these Paul-E-Tics, if you will, that you will join me, that you will get involved, that you will tell your friends, you will spread this information. You will say, hey, you know what? There's a guy on Facebook who you can talk to, who's trying to make some changes and who's trying to create a new political model based on love. And I think you should talk to him, and I think you should put forth your ideas, because this is not about me. This is about Los Angeles, and this is about giving the love back to Los Angeles, and that takes everyone. It takes a village, it takes a city for us to come together and make real change. And in fact, to say, it's time for something new. It's time for something new, Angelenos. I think you believe me. I can see it out there. I can see the desire for something different. And that's what I am, something different. I hope that you love me as much as I love you, because I got to tell you something. I have so much love for each and every citizen of Los Angeles. Thank you for their hearts. I want to be of service to you. That's all I'm trying to do, is to be of service to you and to be here for you and to create more love for this town and for the wonderful people who are in this town. And so with that, I want to thank you for tuning in to my first Paul-E-Tics. As I mentioned before, this is a daily Facebook live stream that we will be doing every day, and we'll be tuning in Monday through Friday with different issues and discussing how we can solve these issues that Angelenos face, how we can solve these issues using love as the fuel that powers the engine. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed, and I look forward to seeing more of you tomorrow and to being here for you to answer your questions and to hear your suggestions. Please let me know how you vote for love. And if you want more information, you can go to voteforlove.com and check out the platform, which is every day our website is uploading new content. And you can find out more about what we're trying to do. And if you want, become a part of it. I hope to see you soon. I love you, Los Angeles. Vote for love. Vote Paul-E for mayor of Los Angeles. Because a vote for Paul-E is a vote for love. Thank you, my friends.